This is part 40 of my preparation for NSE4 exam Fortinet, and today's theme is monitoring and troubleshooting. Monitoring and troubleshooting of high availability clusters. The high availability page, which is system, and then we go to HA. On the FortiGate graphical user interface gives important information about the health of our HA cluster. For each cluster member, the page shows whether the member is synchronized or not, and its status, host name, serial number, role, priority, uptime, and active sessions. On the high availability page, we can remove a device from a cluster, and when we remove a device from high availability cluster, the device operation mode is set to standalone. We can also enable more columns to display other important information about each member, such as the checksum, CPU, and memory. And we can also add HA status widget on the dashboard page. So we can go to dashboard and then status. This widget provides important information such as checksum, CPU, and status memory of the device. We can also add high availability status widget. And here we can see mode, group, primary FortiGate, secondary FortiGate, uptime, and when state changed. Checking high availability status on command line interface. We can get more information about high availability status on the FortiGate command line interface using command get system HA status. This command displays comprehensive high availability status information in a user-friendly output and usually executed as the first step when troubleshooting high availability. So here, if we put the command get system HA status, we will see a response which consists of like 6 main parts. The first part is at the beginning of this output, we can see cluster health status, member model, high availability mode, is it active or active passive, cluster uptime, and state change time. Second, we can see latest primary election results and the reason. Third, we can see configuration, synchronization status, and then we can see performance status on each member devices. Then heartbeat, monitored and remote link interfaces status. And sixth point is member role, host name, serial numbers, and ID for each member of the cluster. The output indicates local FortiGate and remote FortiGate devices are primary and secondary members respectively. So first, get system HA status shows us comprehensive status information, is a user-friendly output, and usually it is executed as the first step when part of an example output that command provides. Note that at the beginning we can see cluster status, member model, high availability mode in use, then cluster uptime. The example output shows that cluster status is good, okay, and the member model is FortiGate, and we can see what is the number. And we can see which is HA mode. For example, is it active or active passive. We can see how many days it was up. Next, we can see latest primary election events, the results and the reason, and this output indicates that different member was elected as a primary during the last two election events. For both cases, member was elected because it had a high availability uptime. The configuration status information is displayed next. It indicates the configuration synchronization status for each member. For both members, the configuration is in sync. Following configuration status information, you can see the system usage statistics, which report on performance statistics for each member. They indicate the number of sessions that each member handles, as well as the average CPU and memory utilization. Note that the session field accounts for any sessions that the member handles, and not only the sessions that are distributed when the high availability mode is active. So now we go to checking high availability status part 5 and 6, and if we check next, it's heartbeat monitored and remote link interfaces status. The output begins with status information for configured heartbeat, monitored and remote link interfaces. These interfaces enable the cluster to perform device failover, link failover, and remote link failover protection, respectively. Next, part 6, it shows member role, host name, serial number, and ID information for each member of the cluster. The output indicates that local FortiGate is primary and remote FortiGate is a secondary device. Checking the configuration synchronization. We can check it using command diagnose sys HA checksum. This command enables us to check the cluster configuration sync status, and in most cases we can use diagnose sys HA checksum cluster command to view the cluster checksum. The output indicates the checksum for each member of the cluster. So when we run the diagnose system HA checksum cluster command, the checksum is polled for each member using the heartbeat interface. If high availability is not working properly, or if there is a heartbeat communication issue, then the command may not show the checksum for members other than one what the command or run the command on. An alternative is to connect to each member in a different way using a display checksum for all members. We can run command diagnose sys HA checksum cluster. We can also alternatively run diagnose sys HA checksum show command. And this command displays only the checksum for the member what we are connected to. After when we obtained the checksums for all members, we can identify the configuration and synchronization status by comparing the checksums. If all members show the exact hash values for each configuration scope, then configuration of all members is in synchronization. It's synchronized. But sometimes it's not synchronized and there is a checksum which don't match, and we can fix it by running command diagnose sys HA checksum recalculate. To recalculate checksums, FortiGate computes a hash value for each of the following configuration scopes. First is global, settings such as global settings, FortiGuard settings, and so on. Next, root, settings and objects specific to the root virtual domain. If we configure multiple virtual domains, FortiGate computes hash values for each virtual domain. And third, all. Global configuration plus the configuration of all virtual domains. So in some cases, if configuration of members is not synchronized, even though the checksums are different, they could be synchronized. And for these cases, try running command diagnose sys HA checksum recalculate command to recalculate high availability checksums. Thank you.